hot seat today. Hello, Kirsten.
Hello, hello. It's my turn. Next will be you.
Yes, okay. Well, okay, so July 8th.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us, and Kirsten, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, this is fun.
Ask me anything.
Ask me anything. Anything.
Okay, good. Well, you have, so we have some questions. We did a promo on this, and viewers have been sending us some wonderful questions.
Which is really nice of them.
So nice.
Yeah.
And you know, I have the pleasure of being a friend of Kirsten.
Yes.
And by the end of this interview, everyone's going to fall in love with you.
I don't know what I'm like.
Oh, everyone's going to fall in love.
All my secrets.
Oh, good. No, not all. We'll
Not
keep
all.
that part two.
Okay. Part two.
How many years have you two been working together?
10.
Yeah.
I've been over 10 years,
Yeah.
so we've been working together right from the beginning.
And we travel together, and that, I think,
travel
is the
together.
real gauge
Yeah.
of how you get to know someone.
Yeah, I think so too.
And we came back, I think, as stronger friends.
Yes.
There's a strong bond,
Yep.
I would
Yep.
say. So I'm so thrilled today to be moderating, basically,
Yeah.
because most of the questions have been asked. Marlene's behind the camera. You made it through the hot seat, Marlene.
I did. I'm
and-
still alive.
Still alive.
Yes.
So what we've done today is that we've broken down the interview in kind of 5 categories because there's so much here on Kirsten's plate. She is our in-house stylist. She is a buyer here at Shepherd's. She is a trend enthusiast, got to say that.
Yes.
She has a background in interior design and decor. She's a woman of great taste, and she also has a wonderful sense of humor. So lots and lots to cover here. You want to know about her family, you want to know about her work life, her sense of style, what makes her tick, all, okay? So the first category,
Okay.
shall we get right into
Yes,
it?
let's get to it.
Okay, style and closet philosophy.
Oh,
Ooh,
okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, so I have the question.
Category 1, Alex.
Category 1.
Okay.
Okay, so what is your favorite item in your closet, new or old, and whether it be clothing or shoes? Debbie, sent by Debbie.
Not a huge shoe person. I don't have a big shoe collection. I'm probably the only woman that doesn't. And I'm not really attached to items. So if I had to pick one, it could be my watch, or I have a collection of Hermes bracelets, that kind of thing, more so jewelry that would have a memory attached. I got my watch when we were in St. Thomas, and I buy the bracelets when I go away somewhere, so it would be something like that. Otherwise, I don't have a huge attachment to clothing or things like that.
Oh, that's very
Yeah.
interesting, speaking as a stylist, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. How, second question, how do you decide which pieces to add to your closet each season without buying everything that you fancy?
I've started to use the philosophy of I have to love it. It has to. We did a workshop a while ago about your 3 style elements that as to who you are, really who you are, and I do try to stick to those now. I used to be the kind of person that would just go out and just buy stuff all the time. I couldn't even go to Shoppers without buying something. But now I ask myself, you know, is this going to work for me? Am I going to wear it? Is it something that I love? And if it doesn't tick the boxes, I leave it.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm not an accumulator of stuff because I don't like clutter. It causes anxiety for me. So I like things to be clean. I can't stand not being able to find something. So I try to keep it very streamlined. Yeah.
And I've seen that change in you. I've seen that
Yeah.
progression in you since
Yeah,
we've known
exactly.
each other.
I used to just go
Yeah.
over after work, or I'd grab something here and I would just buy it. But now I think more thoughtfully about it.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Would love to know how many clothes you keep at any given time. Is it one jacket in, one jacket out?
No, I'm not that kind of person. I don't work with that philosophy. If I love something, and this goes for my home as well, if I love something, I know I will always find somewhere to wear it, or I will find somewhere to put it. So I don't take something out and put something in because I'm trying to create a wardrobe that all goes together. So if I was to buy this has to go with more than one thing. I put this pant on today and I'm thinking this would be a good pant. And I'm thinking about all the things that I can wear with it. So I'm not going to take out something just to put something in.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. Okay, good. maybe this works in relation
Yeah.
to the previous question. How were you able to downsize your closet when you moved to a condo?
That's actually a great question. So all the things that I wasn't wearing and all those things that I had just bought for the sake of having stuff, I got rid of. If I wasn't wearing it and I hadn't worn it for a while, even if I really liked it, it had to go. There was a point in our life where we went to a lot of events, so I had a lot of gowns and bags, and I loved them. They were beautiful. I'd take them out and look at them, but I wasn't wearing them. So all that stuff went. So it's to let go of all that attachment to anything because it doesn't really mean anything. I still have the memories of wearing a gown to the tulip ball and being there with people that I loved, but the gown itself doesn't really mean anything. The memories do. So I got rid of all of that stuff. I let it go. I purged it all. It was a huge letting go of things. And I learned how to store things better, how to organize things really, really well, little tips and tricks for small spaces, and everything else had to go. And you know what? I don't miss it, and I've never looked for it. So that tells you how much it really meant to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that kind of takes care of that category. We're going to go right into
Okay.
this will be fun too. Work life and buying at Shepherd's. You work as a
Okay.
buyer.
Yes.
So number one, when you go out to buy new fashions for Shepherd's,
Yeah.
what are you looking for? How do you choose what to bring into the store?
It's not about me. So I don't look at it from, do I like it? Or do I not like it? And if I don't like it, sometimes it's for the same reason that you won't like it, because it's too tight, it doesn't have stretch, it's bulky on the arms. But it can't be a personal thing because sometimes it doesn't even matter. It was like when I was decorating homes, it's the same philosophy. I went into many homes and decorated for what the customer liked, not what I wanted, and they're happy, that's all that matters. I don't have to live there. And it's exactly the same thing, what our customers need. And there's always that trend that we kind of follow. Oh, we had this and they loved it. Now here's a better version of it, and now here's another one. And so there's the trend forecasting based on history. So we have to follow that. Often when we're out on a buy, I'll say to Marlene, oh, we had this before, and now they've done it in a better fabric, or they've done it in a new color, and now it's fresh, so let's try it again. And I'm always thinking of the shows. So when we're out, I'm thinking of a theme for a Wednesday show or Friday show, or this would be great on Kathy Donovan, or oh boy, this would be perfect on a Sandra. And I'm always thinking of those things because all of our models, somebody out there is going to say that's me.
Right.
So I'm always thinking of the shows. This would be a great theme. Let's put all of this together for a capsule, or this would be a good workshop. So I'm always thinking about those things when I'm buying, because that's what's going to be entertaining, that's what's going to fulfill our customers' needs. And so it's never really about me. It's about who we're doing it for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. How, they want to know, how and when did you meet Marlene?
Oh my gosh. I met Marlene a long time ago. I was the manager, the sales manager at Norwalk Furniture. So I worked for Norwalk. If any of you know Norwalk, it was an American company from Ohio that was here in Ottawa for quite a long time on Carling Avenue. And Marlene was working with a decorator who I knew really well. And her decorator called me and said, Marlene Shepherd is going to come in, and I told her to make sure to see you. I thought, okay, great. And I'll never forget, she came in with her mom. Her mom was in full black. She had the most gorgeous black suit on. Like, she really looked, and Marlene had this long coat, like right down to her ankles. They looked very glamorous. And they came in, and there was this beautiful black floral sofa at the front door. Remember this? Mm-hmm. With the matching chair, and the chair was in a stripe, and Marlene immediately knew that was the one for her. So we worked on her family room, and then I left Norwalk. I opened my own furniture store and design studio, and Marlene brought her mom in. So then I did her mom's sunroom, which was a big job, and then her mom had some damage. We had to wallpaper everything. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And so we did that.
You
and
solved
then,
a lot of problems.
Yes, and we did her curtains because she had to have curtains for privacy because she lived alone. So we did that. And then after that, Marlene also brought some of her friends in. So it was kind of this long-term relationship. I would come to Shepherd's. I shopped here. I was a customer, so I'd come in. Marlene helped me a few times.
Oh yeah, out at Bayshore, I remember.
Yeah, and she would look for, I would say, do you have this in my size? She'd call Nelson Street, see if they did. And so she helped me a lot in the store. So I got to know her. And then when I decided I wasn't going to continue with my store, and I decided that I was going to cut back decorating, and I wanted something new. I was tired at that point, and it just happened to be that they needed a merchandiser. So she had sent me a note, hey, if you know anybody, and I said, I'll never forget it, because I was in Maine, and I was on the beach, and I got her email, and I thought, why not me? Like, why not? A new chapter, and I like an adventure, so I thought, why not?
Absolutely.
And that was like over 10 years, almost 11 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and our roles have all evolved as Elaine's has, and changed, and you know, this is a place that evolves and changes constantly. So it just works for me. Yeah, so it was a long time ago. That was a long time ago.
We're growing old together.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You're one of the best things that happened in business-wise, because you've adapted to everything, right? And you just always said, yes, let's take it on. Let's try. So
Yeah. So yeah, it's
ring
been
the
a long
bell.
time.
Yes. Wow, and I remember amazing stylist. You know, you're so fast, Kirsten, as well. I find, if I may op-ed here a little bit, in everything you do. You know, like I remember you would put in a whole new collection in the store so beautifully together, like fast.
Yeah.
You know, with all the details and the trimmings, and you'd walk in and think, wow, this looks amazing. So you can create a story so well through what you did in merchandising and now with styling.
And I think that has carried over into the styling, that a collection can come in and I can put it together for the show pretty quickly.
Yes.
Because, and probably a lot of that has to do with decorating, because you don't want to go out to somebody's home and say, well, let me sit and think about what to do with your room. You have to be able to visualize things. And I think those things tie together. Yeah.
Right, very visual.
Yeah.
You're right, yes. So where do you find the trends? What's your inspiration for finding trends that could work here within your lifestyle segments?
I love to research anything. Everything and anything. So I spend time on Tik Tok. I will see something somewhere, and then all of a sudden I'll start Googling it, and I'll go on Pinterest and search it, and then I go on Instagram. And so I'm always looking for things, and if I think of something, I write it down at my desk on a piece of paper, and I leave it there, and then I'll often go back and start researching. But definitely all social media, all of it is really important for us, all of us here.
Yes.
One of the
absolutely.
most important resources we have now. And of course now ChatGPT will help you. If I think of something, like when we did the feng shui for the workshop, I had the idea and then I searched it on Pinterest, and then I thought, oh, I'll ask ChatGPT, what do you think of this? And then it kind of expands. So that's really changing everything now, you know, for all of us in this building.
That's right. We use it a lot.
Yeah.
We do, broadening our horizons.
Yes, opening up our
Right.
mind.
Opening up our minds
Yeah.
to new ideas, and so on. What is your favorite part of working at Shepherd's, and what is the most challenging?
My favorite part is that every day is different. So when you're working in fashion, it's never going to be the same thing every day. We get new collections all the time. I'll think nothing's come in. I go to the back, there's a whole rack of something new. So it's always changing. You know, we're never going to be doing the same thing every day, 365 days a year. So for me, I like that because it keeps my mind working. You know, the workshop keeps me busy. I work on that on the weekends, getting ideas. All those kinds of things keep my mind busy. And I have a mind that likes to be busy, so that works well for me. Challenging is always that we're at the mercy of our vendors. So we sit down every Tuesday, we put together a plan, and then, for example, today I went into Marlene, she said, we got to switch this. So it's like, oh God, they told us that was coming. And it's not. So you've got to really be quick. And it can be frustrating because we've planned ahead, we've made these plans and ideas, and shows are involved, and models are booked, and then it's like, okay, it's not going to work. And not because of us. We've done everything. It's because of someone else. So, you know, you have to be able to jump back and forth and be able to figure out a way to change that. So that's a big challenge here. It's a big challenge with anybody that owns a business.
Right. Right.
That's right. You got to turn on a dime, right?
Pivot really
Pivot.
fast.
I was
Yeah.
just thinking that.
Yeah.
Pivot.
Yeah.
And I would like to ask, although we do have a solid load of questions here, if you do have a question and you're watching live, please, Marlene can ask. She's behind the camera here, and we can certainly take more questions. But we've got a lot. We've got a lot here, boy. We're being super nosy. We're so happy you came up with all these wonderful questions.
Yeah.
Okay. How did Francis come to work alongside you at
my gosh.
Shepherd's? Your husband, Francis.
My husband works here, which is so funny because nobody understands how that works. Because he did have a corporate job for many, we never worked together ever. And he was retired, and he really needed something to do. He really needed something to do. He has he likes to be busy, and he likes to go somewhere and do something. So that was kind of after COVID when things were really on the upswing here, and we did not have any warehouse staff, very few. And so we were so behind at that point that we didn't know how we were going to catch up. So I said to Stephanie, you know what, Francis is home. Do you want him to come in like a few days a week? And he can do that. And she says, oh yeah, let's do that. That'd be great. Now he's here 40 hours a week. So, which is actually great because we drive together, and you know, he's here. A lot of people might think, you know, how does that work? But we spend a lot of time together. We have similar interests. So it all works out really well for us. It's not a problem.
I remember you used to drive me home, and
Yeah.
Francis would call, and he'd have something cooking.
Yeah,
He'd
exactly,
Make you these
yeah.
beautiful dinners.
Yes.
So do you miss that?
No. At 10 a.m., he'd be asking me, what do you want for supper? And I was just like, finish my cereal. So this is where we were at. So he needed something to do. You know, even I remember my son, and I'm coming home, and when Colvin was just has finished school, and he's like, you gotta find something for him to do. Because he had him out like trimming trees. It was like all this stuff that you know, an 18-year-old does not want to do, mowing the lawn and all of this. So yeah, so it worked out really, really well for us.
Oh, well, for us too at
Yeah.
Shepherd's, really, really,
Yeah.
really well. Okay, so we have a few inserts.
Oh, yeah.
What if we play the work insert, Marlene? If we could do the work insert.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Yeah.
here we go.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember
Okay,
that?
is it up?
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
Victoria Dunn dress.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and this was from a party. Oh my God, that was our pajama party workshop with Teresa. Which
Oh.
we have so much fun during the workshops.
Your 4x4
Yes, the
travel
4x4.
programs.
4x4, yes,
Yeah.
which I love.
Okay.
Yeah, that was from the party that we
Yes.
had here where we had our hair and makeup done, and this was our pajama party.
Mm-hmm.
Was
Yeah,
that
the
fun?
4x4 workshop, which is one of my
Yep.
favorites.
Yes, and certainly a very, very
Definitely.
popular workshop.
My favorite
Because
workshop.
it relates to travel,
Yes,
right?
it
And-
does, which I
yes.
love.
Right. Okay, so sorry, on to more questions here. Oh, yes, a bonus question
Oh.
on work.
Bonus round.
Okay.
For 100, Alex.
Bonus round.
I'll take the bonus round.
Well, and that's one thing you have to know about Kirsten. She keeps us in laughter, right?
Yeah, she does.
She
She's
keeps
got
us laughing.
Wicked sense of humor. Like really good repartee, as does Francis. So you're,
Yeah.
yeah. What's one trend you swore you would never wear and now love?
Oh my gosh, what a
Ooh.
good question. Boy, I might not win this round.
I know one.
Oh, Marlene's right.
Oh,
Sneakers.
Yeah.
Sneakers.
Honest to God, when sneakers came on the scene, I hated that look. It was like, please go away. I don't want to see that. It just doesn't make sense to me. And then I saw it more and more. I started to warm up. And then you start to get older. Your feet hurt or you fall down. And I've had 2 really, really bad falls. And after that, I had no choice. I had to wear a sneaker because I could not wear my regular shoes. And I realized, you know what? This is not a trend solely based on fashion. This is a trend based on function. And boy, oh boy, what a difference. And it just opened my eyes. I mean, I own sneakers, I use them, but my favorites are the Ilse Jacobsen. I've said that a bajillion times. And they truly are. I wear them to death. You know, and to me they're a sneaker. But yeah, I didn't like that look. I didn't like them with dresses. Now I see girls wearing them or ladies here and I think, oh, that looks really nice. Especially the ladies on the floor, they almost all wear sneakers or at some point in the day they change. They look amazing. You know, I see Sunny with her wide leg pants and her heavy sneaker or a samba, or the girls have the Ilse Jacobsens, and I think they look really, really nice. And Sandra, who I think has great style, she's really, you know, on point.
Yes.
And she comes in with sneakers all the time. So sometimes you have to open your mind and just give it up and not be so rigid.
So we have a question from Lori.
Yes.
What was your deciding factor to downsizing to your condo? Empty nesting.
Yeah, because Colvin left. He moved out to Big White Mountain, and we realized he wasn't coming back. Once young people move out west, they love that lifestyle, and he was not going to come back. And certainly if he came back, he wasn't moving back home. So we had this house with this beautiful finished basement that had like a hockey locker room down there, and it had an office, and it had this big area with a second office. We never went down there. Then the only room we used was the living room and the kitchen, and even one half of upstairs never got used. It just seemed so wasteful. And so we thought, okay, I don't know what we want to do, but it's not this. And it had a big yard, and so poor Francis had to mow the lawn and do all this stuff. So we thought, this is not it. And it was COVID, so prices were like crazy. People weren't even coming in to look at the house; they were just making an offer. So the timing couldn't have been better. We sold it. We rented this condo. We did not like renting, and I always wanted to live downtown. I am not a country girl, even though at one point I thought I was. I'm not. I'm a city girl. And so I always wanted to, and so when we decided that we were going to buy a condo, initially we thought, well, we'll buy out in the suburbs where we are, and I thought, why am I doing that? I want to live downtown. And we were able to find like the perfect condo. So we would have liked something bigger. There was nothing available in that area at that time, but it turned out to be the perfect thing for us based on what we like to do. And truly like so grateful and happy we were able to find that.
Your weekends have really changed.
They've changed, yeah.
Right.
We spend our weekends, I mean, on Saturday we went to Perth for lunch, we came home, we walked the canal, came all the way back up around. Sunday we went to Lansdowne to the market. It's everything that I love to do, to go for coffee. We go for coffee every weekend, we sit outside. It's just changed everything. We walk to Preston Street and have a dinner. It's just everything that we love to do, and it's just the perfect thing for us. So sometimes you have to sacrifice size to be where you want, and that's what we did, and it was, for me, it was the best decision.
Right.
Yeah.
Even in winter.
Yeah.
Like it's icy cold and you'll be out
Yeah,
having a walk.
exactly.
You'll go enjoy the downtown core.
Yeah, even when it's freezing cold, it's just changed my whole life and made me very happy.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about your interior design and creative
Okay.
influences, okay?
Yeah.
So who or what inspired you to become an interior designer?
I have always loved decorating. My mother was the kind of person that you come home from school and had flipped the dining room and the family room. Everything was changed, never could find anything. So I've always loved that kind of thing, and I just always knew that it would be fashion or interior design. So that was always, there was never another option for me. Yeah.
Okay. And do you still offer interior design services?
Yes and no, because I cut things way, way, way back. My focus is here, and that's the way I want it to be. If it's somebody that I've worked with for many, many, many years, and they call and they need something small, like just a quick paint color or to pick a tile for the kitchen or something, I'll often do that, but I'm very picky about what I do. I don't take on any new business. It has to be somebody I've known for a long time and that I'm comfortable working with. If it's somebody that calls me that I really didn't enjoy working with, I'll just say thank you, but I'm really much too busy. So I'm very particular because, like I said, my time is here, and this is what I like to do right now. So I love to do my own decorating, but I can only do small little bits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any trends that kind of correlate within fashion and interior design?
I think they're hand in hand. I think, the trends are very, very similar when you see, florals and then you see floral dresses, or you see chenille textures are back and then we see the Eileen Fisher chenille sweaters. I think they go hand in hand, and it's the same idea, colors and the base tones of colors and mixing textures and mixing patterns, and it's the same, for me, visually, it's the same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So to me, they're hand in hand.
Are you, yes, Marlene?
Well, Jacqueline has a question. What
Yes.
happened to your house you were building in Mexico?
That house took forever to finish. Anybody that's built a house in another country would understand how difficult it is when you're not there. And I don't think it's just Mexico. I've heard from many people that that's the same thing everywhere. So the house was finished. It was never going to be a house we were going to live in. It was always going to be a vacation home, and it was going to be somewhere that would be rented. And we had somebody who we've known for many years who sold us the house, who has a part of their company is also a management company, so they manage properties for expats. So they were looking after it for us, and the house was done, it's finished, and then maybe a little follow-up in the next week or two about that.
Perfect.
And maybe a new project on the horizon.
Oh, interesting. Well, and what about your cottage? Do you still have your cottage?
We sold
Jan-Marie?
it. We sold it. It was a big decision, but I believe everything has a season, and the season had passed for us. It was a lot of work. It was great when there were tons of kids coming up on the weekends. We'd have carloads of kids, and they'd pitch a tent, and they'd be sleeping on the floor, and that was fun for me. And when that all changed, my feelings changed. So like I said, I think everything has a season, and that season was over.
Okay.
So it was time to move on. Yeah.
What do you find most exciting about an upcoming trend in fashion and or interior design for fall?
I love color. It's funny because I say that and I don't have a lot of color, but I love colors. So I love when we go out and we see like this trend with color. We go to Shannon Pesero and you see the color, and then you go to Liverpool and there's that color, and then you go to the next showroom, part 2, and there's that color. And I love to see those colors. I can get really excited about a color. Lots of brown this season, and just the idea of how you can make it look new, so it's not the same brown as 10 years ago. So to me, that's a lot of fun. Yeah, I love color.
So what kind of brown do you think it's going to?
I think we're going to see a lot of brown, everything from camel to chocolate, lots of textures, lots of earthy tones, the browns, that tawny port, which had the brown undertone, merlots, olives, ochre, all of those kind of earthy tones, which aren't necessarily my colors, but I can still love them.
Okay.
How,
speaking of colors,
Yeah.
great segue. How would you stylize a look if it's not your color, if it's not a complementary color for you? What would you do to make it complementary?
like if I was going to wear a merlot, and it's not really a color for me, I'd probably buy a piece that was a little more flattering, like this sweater I like. It's a good basic. I might do something like that. This is from part 2. In the tawny port, even though that might not be the best color on me. maybe make my makeup a little more in those tones, so it was more, I like muted makeup, but more in the tones of what I'm wearing to complement that. I would never invest a huge amount in a color that I know is not great for me or that I might get tired of, but I might do a piece, you know, that I could add this sweater under my navy blazer.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Good idea. Okay, maybe speaking of, let's see here, we had a question about makeup. So you've been doing a lot of makeup tutorials and
Yes, we
makeup
have, haven't we?
with you, with Aya, you both, you
Yeah,
love
what's in our
makeup.
bag? I
This
love
girl-
makeup. Yeah.
Oh, you love
And
makeup.
I love makeup.
Oh my goodness. So what, Helen wants to know, what product do you use around your hairline?
If you're talking about on my skin, I use I use a primer, which is Smashbox. I use a Smashbox foundation. I use a brush to rub it all in. And then I use the Say Luminescent on my forehead. So I do that like up to here and around my face. But if you mean on my hair, the only real hair product that I use after I wash my hair is the Olaplex oil. But I never use it at my roots, only on the ends.
Okay, and what does it do for you?
Stops the frizz. I have coarse hair, so I stop the frizz, but I don't put it on my roots because it makes my hair dirty. So
Okay.
And
Yeah.
on our Instagram, they can check the makeup product that
That's
Kristen
right.
used, product by product. We're
we
listed.
went through everything.
Yes, on our Instagram page, Shepherd's Fashions. Thank you. Oh, do we have another
So
question?
Vivian
here?
has a question for you.
Okay.
Who would be your favorite celebrity to fashion style that favorite celebrity to fashion style up and why? I guess, yeah, Vivian wants to know. Who would you like to style up?
You know, I love the look, Megan Fahey's look right now. I love Kate Blanchett. I think she has like such a interesting, beautiful style. The other day, I saw Naomi Watts doing like a round table. I love her kind of minimal, simple style. Anybody that has like that simple look, not a lot of makeup, not a lot of glam, just that very, very simple look. And so yeah, I love Kate Blanchett's look.
Lovely. Okay, let's move on to travel. And
Okay.
lifestyle. Okay.
Yes.
So travel. When did you develop wanderlust?
Ooh, probably after, probably after our son left home. We used to always travel. We'd always do a big trip, but we did more family trips. We went to Maine every summer, which we loved, and I still love. We did cruises. We did things. I remember my husband saying, boys need adventure. And so, you know, I wasn't going to drag him around to museums or things like that. So we tried to do things where he could have some adventure, go jet skiing and things like that.
Now he's a firefighter.
Yeah, now he's a firefighter. And he is
That
a
worked
bit
out.
of a thrill seeker, so he would get bored easily. So we did family things. So after Colvin left and it was just Francis and I, then it was kind of like, well, where would I want to go? And then kind of we started thinking about lists. Francis is very easy though. He never says, I want to go here, I want to go there. I'll usually come up with the idea and then say, you know, what do you think? And then I'll have a whole plan by that point.
So you went to Morocco.
Yes.
What prompted you to go to decide?
Always, even when I was a little girl, young, I wanted to go to Morocco. It was just the idea of this exotic, kind of dreamy thing, and it was exactly what I thought. It was like being in Aladdin's lamp. I think anybody that goes or has been will know what I'm talking about. It's magic. Yeah, it's a very special place with very kind people, and we went into the mountains and did a hike, and the people that we met there were lovely in these little tiny little villages, and it's magic.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Noreen is going on a 7-day tour in
good.
September.
Oh, good.
And wanted your insight. What was Morocco like?
It was like literally like being in Aladdin's lamp. I mean, you're going through the souk and there's like a Bentley parked there, and then there's a guy riding a donkey here. You know, it's this fusion of these two worlds of modern and so old. You know, the souk is dirty, and you wear wear closed shoes in the souk. It's very dirty, but then there's people like weaving baskets, and it's like you've gone back in time but everything's modern. It's such a strange thing, and they have beautiful restaurants and beautiful hotels, and it's just so incredible. And we went to Essaouira, and I bought a painting because as we were coming in, and I looked over at the water, and there's a guy walking these two camels, the way you would walk your dog on the beach. I mean, it's just like another world, and we loved it. It was really, really special. Yeah, she'll have a good time. Enjoy, Noreen.
So we have an insert from her
Yes, we
vacation.
do.
Is this maybe
from
a good?
Travels here, let's
Here
see.
we go. Here.
Okay.
Oh, there you are
Oh,
in
yes.
Morocco.
Okay,
Mm.
that's at La Sultana.
Yeah.
And that's also at La Sultana in my Dunes dress.
Wow, with a turtleneck
The
on.
turtleneck. Oh, this is in France at La Bastille de Marie in their garden, and that's at the Louis Vuitton Cafe in Saint-Tropez, which was really nice. And this is at this is, yes, I think it's at La Mamounia. Most of them were from
So that was sort of a
Morocco.
mixture of your Moroccan, which
Yeah.
was what,
Yeah.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
And then you just went
I
to
went to France this
south
year.
of France. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Wow.
you prep a lot before traveling?
Yes.
Yes.
I do. I don't use a travel agent by choice. I like things to be my way, and I like to make sure that it's going to be, every little detail will be the way that I want it. And I find that sometimes people say, oh, you should do this or you should do that, and that's great, but it might not be what I would do or what I would like. So I'll spend a lot of time researching and looking at reviews and researching, and I'll make a pin board, and I'll think about everything, and then I've planned every detail. And this past trip had more moving parts, but at least it was perfect. At least I know, everything's perfectly the way I want it.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you look at a lot of YouTube videos, travel videos?
No.
No.
No, I don't. I look at a lot of TripAdvisor, a lot of TikTok. If I'm looking at a hotel like La Mamounia, I'll put it into TikTok, La Mamounia, and then I'll watch all these videos that come up of people who are actually there. And then I'll start searching, or I might search beautiful hotels in Morocco, and then I'll go onto TripAdvisor to look at the reviews. And I just search a lot that way, more so than YouTube, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you take who is the picture taker when you're traveling? You or Francis?
Francis doesn't take a good picture. He sometimes 5 pictures of the ground. Or his hand. Or the best one is he's got the phone and he's like, it's not working. I come over and I'm like, click, and I said, you just have to touch it
Touch it
lightly.
gently.
And then the next thing you know, we're back to that. It's just like, never mind, we don't need a picture here. Or he'll take I'll get my phone and it's like 100 pictures of the same thing.
Right.
But because he'll take more pictures than I will, but I try to make sure, like you do, maybe it's framed really nice, but you just take all these pictures. It's a lot of pictures of a squirrel or something.
Which brings me to Vivian's question. How do you make the best out of a terrible travel trip if you've had a bad experience?
Oh, that's tough. You have to pivot then. One time, it's the only time we stayed at an Airbnb, and we really did not like it. And it was just a bad choice, I think, for us. And either you just take that and you learn from it and you never book that kind of thing again, or if you can and you're able to check out and start over, I do that too. Even when I was in France, we were having a really hard time with the train in Nice, and a lot of people were, the little kiosks weren't working. So all I did was take out my phone, type it into ChatGPT, what do I do with this, told me what to do, solve the problem. So yes, it's really sad when something goes wrong and you don't have a good holiday, because everything is so expensive that it's so disappointing. So if you can pivot or check out of a hotel, that's a good idea. If you can't, then you have to pivot and maybe change what you're doing in that area.
Are you adventurous with the cuisine of wherever you're traveling?
Yes and no. I'm willing to try things. As you know, I'm really careful with what I eat. I stick to a certain type of diet. So I'm not somebody I don't eat like any raw fish anywhere. I don't eat anything that I know might make me sick. So I'm pretty careful. I'm not somebody who's too adventurous, no.
Okay.
I'd say no.
What travel destination is on your horizon?
Well, we're going back to France because I felt there was a lot of things we didn't get to do. So I want to do all the things we missed. We loved it there. It was just an explosion for your senses, and we loved everywhere we stayed. We could stay somewhere different this time and do different things. And so that's definitely, and if I was to say like a big trip, it would be Egypt. You know,
To the Nile, the
I would love
pyramids.
to do like a Nile cruise and do something that was kind of, so that one for sure, because I love the movies and all of that. And the other one is the Cotswolds. That is like at the top of my list.
Yes.
The Holiday is one of my favorite movies. I have that movie and I've watched it a bajillion times, and I would love to go at Christmas time and just recreate that whole thing.
Oh.
So I'm often inspired by things like that. If it's a movie or something, I want to recreate that experience. So the Cotswolds is probably, we're going back to France, but then it would be the Cotswolds would be my top of my list.
So France, this was the south of France, right?
Yes.
Close to Nice.
It was Provence, so we did
Provence.
all of that area. We did the Luberon region, and then we were in Saint-Tropez, and then we were in Villefranche. So we had 3 different places. So I don't think I would go back to Saint-Tropez. It was beautiful, but I think I didn't like the amount of driving. And so that was not for me, even though I really enjoyed our hotel. So I would skip that part. And then maybe not stay in Villefranche, do somewhere else in that area.
Now, you went in spring. You went
Yeah.
in early May.
May, yeah, mid-May, yeah.
Would you go back at the same time of the year?
Yes, yes, because I don't like the heat. If it's too hot, Euro summers can, like when we were in Turkey, it was like 105, 104. It's a bit too hot. You're just sweating all the time. It just can be a bit unpleasant. So for that, I don't mind if it's even 30, but up in the 40s is too hot for me. So you get that in Europe, and also the crowds.
The crowds,
You know,
yes.
and when we were in Istanbul, the crowds, it was chaos, and I didn't like that. So I think May, June, early June is perfect for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to move away from travel, but if you have, ladies, another question on travel, we'll come back to it as well. Maybe we should go on to the, we have a little insert with family, and maybe we should show that so that when we talk about family.
Oh, this was the day, this was at Mary Dairy. Elaine took that picture.
Yes.
Oh, that's in the Atlas Mountains at Casbah Tamado. That's Colvin, and that is in, remember the street? Oh, that's Big White Mountain. When we visited him at Big White when he first moved there, and that was taken at Stonebridge when we lived there.
Such a nice boy, a handsome
nice
kid, and
boy.
really nice.
If anybody has a granddaughter,
He's
single
available.
and he's living in Vancouver, call me. We'll talk about it.
We were joking about this before the show.
He probably, thank God he doesn't watch.
My daughter would kill me if I said that.
He would not be happy either. But he doesn't watch, so, and there's a time difference.
Oh. And there was the last photo there is with your dog,
Santo,
Santo.
At our condo here in Ottawa.
Okay, so so one of the questions for family: what does your husband do? Do you have siblings? Do you only have one son? Are your parents alive?
Wow.
And this is from Helen, who also says you're a fabulous designer. Thank you
that's
for all
nice.
your inspiration. So let's get the goods on the family.
Okay, let's spill the tea.
Yeah.
As I would say. So, you know Francis, he works here. He worked at CBC for 25 years before he came here. He worked for CBC Sports and then CBC Television. So he was there for a very long time in marketing. And then you know Colvin, he's a firefighter. He's the only son that I have. So of course, you know, we really miss him. He lives out in BC. It's a bit rough some days. I have a sister, Katie. She lives in North Bay. She has 2 children, Abby and Maeve. She's married. She works environmental studies. Both my parents are still alive. They live in Pembroke near the General Hospital. There you go.
Was that where you were born and raised?
No, I was born in Edmonton.
Oh.
But my mom is, my dad was born in Belfast, and he immigrated to Canada with my grandmother. And my mom is from Petawawa.
Petawawa.
So, and that's where my grandparents were and all my family, but the rest of my family was in Belfast. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. What's your favorite thing to do in your free time?
Oh my gosh, I'm somebody who always has a project or an idea or something going on. I love to bake. I love to, I follow a lot of, I don't know, like cooks or chefs on Instagram. So often, you know, like Wishbone Kitchen ladies, follow her. She's amazing. She was a TikToker that went viral, and now she has a place in the Hamptons, and she's got a new cookbook. So I love to go and like get the cookbook and then make the rest, like all the recipes. So that's something that I love to do. I love to cook. I love to try new recipes. I always have a project. It's like, let's paint the doors to the bathroom today. Let's redo the flowers. I always have a project. And now I've realized on ChatGPT, they can create a project for you. So if you say, send a picture to ChatGPT of my flowers and say, these aren't doing well, what do you recommend? And then it'll tell you, then I'll go and get them and plant them. And so I'm obsessed with that now. That's my new toy. So I spend a lot of time doing that. I love to walk. I love to go on day trips. I love to go to a market anywhere. I've never been to a market I don't love. You know that. I'm like obsessed with like farmers markets, antique markets. I love to scour for things and look for things. And so that's
You're a
what I spend
hunter.
my time.
You're
I'm a
a
hunter.
hunter.
I love that. Yeah, that's what I love to do in my spare time.
We're not gonna forget that we're gonna go to Egypt together, right?
Yes. Aya and I are planning to go. We're going on the Nile cruise.
Well, one of the ladies was wondering if you were planning a group tour that they could come on,
Oh, that would be
on the
fun.
ship.
I've often thought of putting like tours on my Instagram that you could download, just because sometimes it takes so long. Like sometimes I'll take a year to plan a trip. And, you know, right down to the restaurants and the best ice cream shops and, you know, all of that. So sometimes people like that sort of thing if you're not into planning.
That would be great.
Yeah, I know. I thought so
Wow.
too.
Do you have a personal TikTok?
I do, but I've never. Oh, I only posted the video you took of Santo at my house.
Okay.
That's the only thing I've ever posted on there. I'm more of a voyeur.
But that could be a great outlet.
It
for
would be
your
actually,
travel.
it would be, because I do love to travel and I spend a lot of time. So if you're like me, you would appreciate it. If you like more museums and things like that, then it's probably not for you. But I like restaurants and ice cream and bakeries, and I like to have a map, almost like a tour of artisanal ice cream all through Provence, kind of thing. That's what I
That's
like.
good.
Yeah.
So if you had a tour of ice cream shops here in Ottawa, would be your top 3?
Well, Mary Dairy, you got to go there if you live in Ottawa. That's probably my top. Now you can get some good artisanal ice cream at Whole Foods too. They have some great ice cream, but you got to go to Mary Dairy because they make it there. They change all the time. You know, they have these new flavors, and they do custards, and they do dairy free, which is great. So, and they're all good. So you should go there.
So Helen said you mentioned that you had a specific type of diet. Wondering what that means, what it is.
I stick to a FODMAP diet. I have a lot of stomach problems, so I try to stick to that. I stick to about at least 80 to 85% FODMAP. And for me, that works. It's can be challenging, but I don't eat garlic, I don't eat onions, I don't eat bread, I don't eat butter, I don't, I'm a real treat to go out with. You can imagine how fun that is.
Not a big drinker either.
I don't drink, no. So, yeah, it's a huge amount
But you
of fun
like
for my
food.
husband. I love food,
Yeah.
and I find ways to cook around that. and work with it. But it's not to say that I stick with it 100%. You know, we had cake today for birthday. I will have a piece of cake, and that won't upset my stomach. But if I was to do that every day, it would. So I stick to that.
So Vivian asked a question. If someone didn't know you, Kirsten, could you describe yourself in just 3 words?
Ooh, I say that I would say I'm empathetic. I would say I'm very hardworking. And I would say my number one priority all the time is my family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Wow.
How would you describe your sense of humor?
It can be a bit dry, I think. I have no problem laughing at myself as well, you know. I think and I really think like the best medicine always is a good laugh. You know, I love to have a good laugh. So I like to be around people that like to laugh and people that want to have fun. And I think that my husband has a really dry sense of humor.
Yes.
Sometimes we'll go somewhere and he'll say something and I'll say, that lady had no idea what you were talking about.
But you got it.
But I got it.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I just think a good laugh from way deep down makes you feel good. You know, it really is the best medicine. You could have a terrible day and you could be feeling really bad, and then you can have a good laugh, and it just changes everything.
It does.
Yeah.
And you know, we're so thrilled here in the studio. This is our
Very
running
private
grounds.
back here.
Very private, and I hear Kirsten laughing all the time. And it's a chuckle, or it's a real giggle, or it's a belly laugh, and it really does lighten.
It does.
You know,
It
the
lightens
day.
everything. I think, and I think you can't take things, you know, too seriously, including yourself. You know, and like I said, I have no problem laughing at myself as well.
No, you do.
So-
Yeah.
Okay, TV shows, movies. What are you currently
Whoa,
watching?
yeah.
Oh
She's
my gosh! Okay, I should have mentioned that. I
Yeah,
love TV.
Yeah. You're always talking about all these shows.
I love TV, so I recently downloaded PBS. And oh my gosh, I just love the shows that are on there. Well, I'm watching, of course, the new Sex and the City, which has been kind of crummy this year. It's a little off, I find. I love Gilded Age. That's a great show on Crave. If you haven't watched it, it's so good. I watched finally watched Lost. I know I'm like so behind on that, but it was so good. I loved it. I loved Ozark. And I'm watching right now on PBS, I just finished up to season 6 of All Creatures Great and Small, and it was such a happy show. I watched it every night before I went to bed, and it just was such a feel-good, happy show. I loved it. And I'm watching Sandraton on there now, and it's kind of a period piece about this beach village set, you know, way back. It's a lovely show too. And so I like those kinds of shows, but I like kind of gritty shows too.
So does the show capture your full attention, or are you kind of doing the dishes? You know,
Well, I can tell when it captures my attention because I'm not doing anything. You know, like Ozark, I just sat and watched it. But if it kind of has me half in, half off, I'm on the iPad or I'm doing something else. So yeah. But I love to watch TV. I love a good TV show.
What about music?
I like all kinds of music. I love country music. I like every kind of music. I don't think there's anything I don't. I like, you know, a little bit of rock. I love Fleetwood Mac. My husband took me for my birthday one year. And remember we were leaving. And I said, wow, that was like the best night of my life. Wasn't that the best concert ever? He said, that is the worst night of my life. I want those 4 hours back. He hated it. He hated it.
You don't share the same
No, we
musical
don't share the
interest.
same music at all. I have
No.
completely different music on my phone, and he does not put music on his phone. We listen to it in our house on the speaker, but no, we don't have the same taste. But I'm a huge Fleetwood Mac fan. I've always loved Fleetwood
Well,
Mac.
Claire's asking who's your favorite singer.
Oh, Stevie Nicks.
Okay.
Or Bruce Springsteen. I've seen Bruce Springsteen at least 5 times. So that kind of music I love. You know, music that kind of speaks to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vivian wants to know about a boy band. Have you got a favorite boy band?
Sorry, girls. It's One Direction.
Is that bad? Aya says they're overrated.
What do they sing? I don't know.
Oh my gosh,
I've heard
there's
the name,
so
but-
many songs, and I do have some of them downloaded, and my son would be like, you can't tell anybody that, you know.
You just said it in front of a lot of people.
I said it from a lot of people, like, hey girls, you know, what do you think? One Direction, maybe, you know, in my mind I'm still like 16, you know, so it's like, but I remember Colvin and his friends one time turned my phone on for my music, and they're like, this is a lot of girl power, isn't it? It was that kind of music. A little
Speaking
bit
of
of Katy
16,
Perry.
what was your style like at 16? How did you dress at 16?
Oh gosh, yeah, it was always like a ballet flat or a loafer, a turtleneck, you know, a rolled up jean, pair of pink plaid pants with a ballet flat and a pink sweatshirt. One time I had my hair cut in a bob, all permed, you know, so the big bow in the hair. So it's very much that look of the 80s. So,
Fun. Okay, one last question.
okay.
You are receiving, I guess from Francis, a lovely romantic gift. Flowers or chocolates?
Chocolates. Flowers I buy for myself every week.
Okay.
I get flowers.
Oh, you do? That's
Yeah,
nice.
I go and get flowers. We always have one fresh flower in the house. Every week I go and get fresh flowers. So I do that for myself, and I like to arrange them and everything. But chocolates I don't buy for myself because I might eat the whole box. So
Which chocolates?
Purdy's.
Oh, yeah. Which one at Purdy's?
Oh gosh, I love the creams, like the raspberry and like mandarin or lemon. I love anything lemon. So
Okay.
yeah, chocolates, because I wouldn't buy that for myself.
Now we could keep going.
We could.
And we could, and we will.
This has been
right?
fun though.
But it's we've been together for an hour with you, Kirsten.
Wow,
Yeah.
that went quick.
The hot seat.
The hot seat. So
Eh?
you're on the hot seat next.
I'm on the
That's
hot
what people
seat
are
next.
wondering. Who's next?
Elaine.
Okay.
Elaine will be next. She will be in the hot seat. So we'll do some promos, and then you have to send your questions in for Elaine. This will be
thank you.
interesting.
It'll be fun. Well,
Yeah,
this
it'll
was
be fun.
really interesting. I got to know you even better.
There
Thank
you
you,
go.
Kirsten. And I told you she would make a really good friend. And now you know the ins and outs of Kirsten. So thank you very much. And you can always watch the replay. Share the video. Share the video
Yeah.
because maybe not all of your friends have seen this. So we invite you to share the video. You can watch it on YouTube at your leisure. We'll put it in our YouTube playlist so it'll be easier for you to find. And once again, thank you. And now we got to get back to work. Style up
Tomorrow's show.
That's right.
Which is this pant, by the way. Okay. So